And we are live with our first SPFBO 10 finalists of the year, and we're celebrating. We had to have two of them.
The book is so good it took two people to write.
Or it's so bad it took two people to write.
No. Let's not do that.
So welcome, Dewey. Welcome, Bill. How are y'all
Hello.
doing?
Doing good. Thank you for having us.
Oh, glad to have you on the show. Have you you know what you're in for?
I've watched plenty of B&B this
Really?
last year,
Wow.
so I'm prepared.
I don't think anybody's ever answered that question that way before. That's kind of exciting.
Have you insomnia yet, or are you still trying up?
I'm sorry?
Has your insomnia gone away, or are you still watching our shows?
You're cutting out again, Mike.
Background.
Okay, never mind. Take it away, Ro.
I think he said something, is your insomnia going away or are you still enjoying the show? Who's got a TV on?
Who's got
What the hell is that? Sorry, we hear. Nobody else hear that, or is it just me?
I heard it.
Yeah, I heard it too.
I heard it. How did you hear it? Sorry, I'm talking to my son. How did you hear it?
Because I heard it from your
Oh, okay.
speakers.
Yeah, all right. Don't ask. All right. Okay. Hold on. So, this is a professional show, eh?
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
we are.
All right. So we've said that your book is a finalist in SPFBO. What we have not said is what it's called. So if one or both of you have a copy of that thing, show us the best cover I have seen on a book in ages.
Oh,
Tenacious
yay!
D, Tana the Tender Sword. Is it Tana or Tana?
Tana.
Okay.
Well, go ahead, give the elevator pitch of what this story is.
Oh, okay. So Bill's holding the book. Yeah, I love the cover. I think it kind of sums up the whole story.
Well, you
It's
have
about
drawn it too, so I would hope you love the cover.
yeah.
Oh, you did that cover, Dewey?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now,
You did all the
like,
artwork.
do you do that like on paper or computer?
Uh,
Like an iPad?
I do a mix. So I sketch it out on paper and then I scan it and then do digital art. So that's my process. Elevator pitch for the book. Yeah, I'll go ahead and give you that. It is about a young tender sword who is a member of or a student at a questing academy, who is she is tasked with finding her first ever quest, and she is accompanied by a young chronicler to be named Gallifort Quillpen, who must follow her and chronicle his first chronicle, detailing her quest. And she's having a little trouble finding her first quest. So the adventure starts out in a pig town, and from there, adventure ensues. Once they find, of course, the leader of the quest, which is, of course, Pegs, the rooster. Yeah. There we go. So you see it right down there.
Nice.
That's the elevator pitch.
Also, for reference, this is a middle grade book.
So someone's echoing.
It's you guys.
Is it me?
Well,
I
I have
switched speakers.
earphones in, so
Does somebody have it up?
Maybe it's me. I don't know. All right, let's carry on.
Let's try. Is it echoing now? No?
Everybody's very
is it?
talk, sir.
Okay. So what Dewey didn't mention is this is a middle grade book, and we are the first ever finalist that's a middle grade in this 10-year history of the competition. So
Oh yeah,
it's kind of
there's a
amazing
competition.
that, in the competition.
Yeah, so we're a middle grade book. So this is for children. This book is for 9 to 12-year-olds. We wrote it so that at that reading level, it's at a 5th grade reading level, Lexile reading level of 4 fifth grade kids and above. It's really bizarre to be part of this, and quite an honor to be part of this competition. But I really want to hone in the fact that it is a middle grade book and it's designed for them. So you're not going to find all the super chunky complexities of these other big books. It is telling a straightforward story of friendship and learning how to be a hero and how to realize your own potential. And these are the messages of the book. So,
but there's also a lot of funny, like wordplay and others, and fart jokes, basically burping jokes.
Yeah, no fart jokes. He's burping.
No fart jokes. Burping jokes.
Much better.
But yeah, we had fun. We put a lot of fun stuff into it, and we've had I would honestly say a lot of our biggest fans that are not kids are more older adults.
Parents.
Parents, yeah, like they've really taken to it, and they think it's just fun, and brings back like an old mindset.
Have you guys tried taking this to any schools or anything yet?
Not yet. I know. So Dewey used to be. I mean, he could talk to this. I don't know why I need to tell him. But Dewey used to be an educator for many years, and he's had friends and former colleagues kind of talk about it. And then I had some teacher friends have been like, "Would you want to do like video thing in the class?" I do know, like one of our other finalist, K.R. Ganji, his wife is a 7th grade middle school English teacher, and he gave her his copy, and she brought it to her class, and it's something, the class is starting to read it now. So not yet, but we do want to do that.
It would be wonderful to be part of a library tour to actually virtually go into schools, and do interviews with kids about what it means to be an author, to encourage the writing at a younger grade. But no, we haven't really pushed it just yet. I think we're. This is.
I ruined it by having a baby, so that's. I have a 4-month-old, so I ruined our marketing plan by.
I take it Mrs. Curmudgeon isn't listening to the show right now.
But I think that's the eventual plan. And with these things, it takes being able to get into a library or being able to get in even to a school district is just, it takes some coordination to do that. There's a lot of red tape you have to go through. So it would take a concerted effort. But yeah, we have thought about it for sure.
I think, I haven't read it yet, right? But just looking at the cover, it's something I would really like to read, regardless of what age range it's made for. And I think that, everybody says you don't judge a book by its cover. In this case, I would absolutely buy it based on the cover alone, because I just adore that cover. It's easily my favorite. And I can see this being made into like, a show kind of a la Phineas and Ferb.
That would be fun. That would be great.
Be the ideal, like the ideal win, like Endgame, get to be a little mini series or a show like that. But we would have to. When I say Dewey would have to have complete artistic control, because I think he's such a fabulous artist. But it's also his characters. He is Galdefar. So
I know a guy here locally who is pitching a children's kind of a la Sesame Street for 8 to 12-year-olds. I did a pitch Bible for him, and they are in the process of trying to get that made right now. And it's an interesting process. I can connect you with him if you want someday to talk to him about how it works. But I think it's just a fantastic idea, and it bothers me a little bit to see some reviews out there of it. Very, very few in the grand scheme of things, who give it a bad rating because they don't like middle grade, or it's like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was, or whatever it is. It's like, well, why are you creating it then? What the hell's the matter with you? And maybe that's just me. So
I mean, review people like what they like and don't like what they don't like, and that's very fair. But the one thing that I've tried to, like, me and Dewey have talked a lot being in the SPFBO, because we know we're facing an uphill battle, just because middle grade is not something a lot of people read or understand. But one thing that we always try to stress to each other, at least as our support system, is that we wrote this for a different audience, and some people are going to compare an adult book, like the writing style and the plot style and all that stuff, to an adult book, and you can't do that. It's like apples and oranges. So like, if you're going to compare quality, it's subjective taste there. But when it comes to, like, the objective side of things, the quality is there because that's based against other middle grade books.
EL makes a great comment here. If you deliver on what you promise, right? And I think you guys have. I mean, from the cover to the description, there's no doubt what this book is and who it's for, right? So if you're reading that book, whether you're a judge for a competition or just somebody picking up the book and reading it, you know what you're getting into right away, right? So there's really no excuse, unless you just didn't like it, but to shit on it because it wasn't what, I don't know, because this isn't for me kind of thing. You know what the hell it is going in, right? So put on your big boy pants and have some objectivity, and if you're going to review it fairly. And that's just, I'm sorry, I'm off my soapbox now. Mike, take it away. I'm going to go get a beer or something. I don't know.
Oh, Mike, you're on mute.
It's that time. It's not a beer or something. Mike, I don't know. We can't hear you, man. Hello, Mike? Mike is thinking. Mike is doing his
Okay,
big
can
work
you hear
now.
me?
There we go.
If you saw the show last year, we were interviewing 9 people. There's one question we asked every single person. And that is, once we learned that there's a special Discord for the finalists of
Yeah.
we had to ask them, what is it that everyone is talking about in Discord server?
Oh, yeah. What are the recipes this year?
So,
Bill, what is it?
yeah. So Dewey is not the biggest fan of social media in general, and either am I. But I'm taking it on the chin. I'm in the Discord server with the rest of the finalists. I'm, saving Dewey's sanity. But no, there hasn't really been a whole lot of stuff other than, just the support. Like, I know it's a cheesy, bland answer, but like, when the reviews start coming out, we're all just like, circling the wagons and, being as positive as we possibly can. But we do have fun. We do joke around and make some comments that I'm not going to say on here or anything like that. But it's been a lot of fun.
Dare we say there's optimism within the Discord?
Say again. I'm sorry. That echo is coming back.
Is that echo? Yeah.
So dare we say there is boundless optimism within the Discord?
No, it's probably the opposite. The cool thing, and we talked about this today on that TBRCon panel with the other finalists, and no, Tim, we don't. Most of us there are not seasoned self-pub authors. We're all this is all our first book. So that lovely devil of imposter syndrome is rears its head so much, and especially now that the reviews are coming out, a lot of us are not very positive about what we're expecting. And it seems, and again, I'm not going to say anything specific about reviews, but it seems like the judging has been pretty critical this year so far. The numbers are a little bit lower, and either the judges are just not enjoying the books, or they're just have a more critical eye this year. So we're seeing the numbers a little bit lower than the last couple of years that I've been paying attention.
I totally understand why you guys don't want to get into talking about reviews, but that's why I'm here. So Goodreads, you've got 64 ratings. You're at a 4.34. 57% are 5 stars, and 0% are 1 stars. Amazon, you got 31 ratings on Amazon, 4.5.
Wow.
Barnes and Noble doesn't show.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is all good. And as far as imposter syndrome, first book, 10th book, it doesn't matter. It's still there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's been a fun ride for sure, and mostly it's me dragging Dewey along in this process because I'm a project manager by trade, so I like stick to deadlines. And that spreadsheet that I saw Mike show a little bit earlier before the schedule, or before this all started, that's up my alley. And Dewey's the creative one of us, so I'm like pulling him along and like, let's just do it. Let's go.
You're the Gantt guy.
Yeah.
Before you guys came on, I don't know what this thing is. Mike, mute your thing.
Mike, I think you are the Echo.
Yeah,
Do you have
you are the Echo.
The YouTube on a different tab or something?
So before you guys came on, Mike was showing me this ridiculous spreadsheet of YouTube data, right? Just the analytics of the channel. And it's like, oh my God, that's just so far in the weeds. No thank you. But it's good to have one of each type of person on a team like this, right? I mean, you can call each other out for, whatever it is. We go ahead and say it. You want to say something? I can see it.
Yeah, I'm smiling because you hit the nail on the head. I can't stand spreadsheets. I think they're a blight on humanity, and they hurt my head.
They're the devil toilet paper, man.
The problem is you need them. They're very effective with their function and what they do. So I'm eternally grateful for Bill, not only because of spreadsheets, but because of everything. Without him, this story would not have happened. He's gonna, I guess,
he'll be back.
Reinitialize.
I do like a good Gantt chart, though.
Yes, I do like Gantt charts.
Me as a project manager, I hate Gantt charts. It's like I like spreadsheets, but I don't like Gantt charts.
Yeah, in my professional life, I use something called Asana. So it's like all kinds of project management. Oh, I have that echo going on.
Yeah, Mike, it's you. Turn off all your other stuff, Mike. Let me close out all my other tabs. Maybe I'm having an adverse impact. I don't know. But so, what do you guys do? You said that you're a project manager. What do you guys both do during the day?
So the company I work for, it does food testing. So it does like the nutritional label testing on food and beverages, and I'm a project and product manager for all our chemistry testing. So when I saw Mike the other day post a picture of him, giving, what was it, Morgan, a tour or wherever he was, I'm like, oh yeah, I know what you're doing over there.
So do you get involved in, like, do you get to eat the stuff, or do you just like have to throw it in a Bunsen burner and see how many calories it projects?
Basically, it's the latter.
That's no fun.
Yeah, but some of the stuff we get, you don't want to go near. It smelled like, we'll get like pet food's a big big thing now because everybody wants to feed their dog and cat, human food basically. Some of the shit that comes through just smells so bad. Like it's just disgusting smelling.
What's the worst thing you've ever eaten, Bill?
Worst thing I've ever eaten?
That you can
Broccoli.
Broccoli?
Not-
Really?
Not guacamole.
I loathe broccoli. Like broccoli and mayo are my like two bugaboos, and like people love both of those things.
Broccoli's
about-
okay, but
What about guacamole, Bill?
Nope.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would have. Yeah, you don't like guacamole,
Nope.
and I live in Texas, so that's what we eat down here. Well, what do I do? I am I'm an instructional designer, so I work for a company that has a major learning management system out there, and I design courses as a essentially a zooped up graphic designer. So I take instruction, I build curriculum, I do all of that, and it's just I used to be a teacher, like Bill said, way back, and also an instructional technology coach or specialist. I'm a teacher specialist, and now I work with my at home now, thank God, as an instructional designer. So that's what I do.
So do you make those computer-based trainings that the federal government employees have to watch with the little animations, about sexual harassment and all that stuff?
Oh my God.
Fortunately, I have not, but yes,
You've seen them, Bill?
you're up the right. You're up the right
Bill had
alley.
a visceral reaction to that. It's like he's had to do it a few times.
Every year it's like a different one, and it gets longer and longer and longer. These videos, and like you can't skip them. Like you have to like watch them, because then they sneak in stupid bloody quizzes and crap like that to make sure you watch them. And it's like I've been at the company for almost 15 years now. Like if I haven't been fired for sexual harassment now, like what makes you think I'm going to become a random sexual harasser after the 15 years? Like
It's because of the videos, Bill. They keep you in line.
Yeah, okay.
I think if nothing else, the videos give you ideas that you didn't have before. Like, oh yeah, could have done that. Shit.
So that's what I do, and I think it's important to kind of point out too that I think all of us are in this same boat as far as like the finalist and most independent authors like this. This is a hobby. This is like a zooped up hobby for us. It's not at least not for us. It's not the primary means of living. This is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be something that as an expression of our own creativity and authorship. And sometimes I think that's forgotten, that we're agentless. We don't have agents. We don't have people telling us, oh, you need to do this, and this to manage your public persona. You need to keep on social media, whatever. We're doing this on our own, as you guys are. And it's remember we're humans. We're just normal people. Got a day job. This is what we do at night when we find time. It's not any big. I have no delusions as far as like this becoming huge. But if it does, it'd be great. But if not, at least it happens, and I'm happy about that.
You've got something of yours out in the world, at least, for future generations or whatever. So your name will be on something more than your tombstone, which is oddly, as you get older, that becomes more and more oddly gratifying. You'll get there.
Right.
So, well, yeah, I turned 40 just last month, so now I feel like I'm officially over that hill.
Yep.
And now I'm old. Like everything hurts. I randomly fall downstairs. Like now, like I literally did it last week. Fell down the stairs for no reason other than just walking.
Wait till you throw your back out when you sneeze.
Oh yeah. Oh, I've done that.
And just start making noises when you get up. Stand up. Yeah.
It's funny because like I played baseball until I was 21, and so I was a catcher. So I have very bad knees. And like I'll be rocking my newborn in like a rocker and she'll fall asleep, and then me to go to get up, my knees will just pop so loud that wakes her up. And then my wife just like looks at me like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "I'm old. What can I say?"
You had your first kid. Is this your first child?
No, my second.
Second at 40? Freaking
We started
Methuselah?
late.
Good
We
God,
started
man.
late.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine having one. I mean, we
It's
had ours in like early to mid 30s, but 40. You're going to be going to baseball games and people are going to be
hard
like,
on the body.
"You bring your grandpa?" It's like,
It's
oh,
hard on the body.
yeah.
That's right.
Dad, can you teach my hockey team? No.
Yeah. Nope.
Where do you live, Bill?
I live in the Chicago area.
Okay, so it's nice and warm there now.
Oh yeah, right now it's great.
Yeah.
Actually, today was actually almost 40, but yesterday was 0. The day before was like -6.
Yeah.
At one point.
Yeah.
But no, it's funny because I used to live in Austin for a while, and that's when me and Dewey met, was when I lived in Texas. And the year I moved out of Texas, they had that massive snowstorm a couple years ago. I don't know if you remember. It was on the news. Like the whole state shut down because the grid is basically in the back of a van, and they got like little tin foils to do the whole electrical grid, and it was a massive shit show. And there was like this much snow on the ground. And me coming from Chicago, where like lake effect, can get 12 inches within an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm just like laughing. But it's like it's a whole different world down there because they're not prepared for anything less than
As
30.
old people are freezing in their houses, Bill was laughing.
Yeah.
Well, in retrospect,
We mentioned this last night. I was stationed in Vermont, my second to the last job in the Air Force, and then I had to go to Texas, so I was down in San Antonio, and we got just a little dusting of snow. It's like somebody sprinkled talcum powder on, just enough so it's there. And they physically barricaded the ring road around San Antonio.
yep.
Hell, come on. I was driving to work, and it's like the radio. It's like, "Oh, if you're going to work, go home." It's like, okay, fine.
Oh, wow.
When that snow happened, like they were putting sand on the ground because they don't have salt. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah. But it's just the fact that the dry. If you're a fan of NASCAR because of the crashes, go to Texas when it snows. You'll be right there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad. We just had 4 inches of snow here in Texas, which is unusual for where I live on the east coast of Texas. And it's still cold, but it was down to, and I know you're gonna laugh, but it was down to like 30, 25 degrees, which is for here cold. And so the snow was staying. We had 4 inches of snow. All the schools were closed. The kids were out rolling and building snowmen. I'm looking out the window going, "Oh my God, can y'all please get out of my yard?" I mean,
Dewey was going to go Gran Torino on these kids.
they're killing my grass. It's bad enough the grass is covered in snow. Now they're stomping on it and it's frozen.
You
It's
guys
just gonna
call
kill my
crabgrass down there, so that's not going to die. That stuff doesn't die.
crabgrass.
Yeah, like the weed grass.
Oh,
Well, you can't go on the grass in Texas anyway because the ants will frickin' eat you.
That's true too.
Yes, Mike is still in the echo void. He can come back on and say hi if he wants.
oh.
Okay, how's the echo now?
Not too bad. Your timeout is over.
All right. I mean, EL hasn't been banned yet, so I figured I was just taking a turn.
Yeah, 29 minutes in. He's usually gone by now.
Yeah, Eel's a good guy.
Well,
So
don't give him ideas.
You got any questions? Just sitting around doing whatever the hell you've been doing for the last 20 minutes? Just skater?
I have silly questions, sure. So here's my question for you. Either one of you can tackle this. You are going into Walmart, and you are going in there with Tana and Gallifort. And then you turn to get the basket, and you turn back around, and they're both gone. Where have they gone, and what are they doing?
Nice.
Dewey, you can do Geldafor because that's you.
Well, all right, if you do Tana, go ahead and do Tana because Galdafor will have the opposite reaction.
Yeah, well, I think Tana would be like standing next to the greeter and bringing everybody in because she is like this endless optimist and like super peppy and happy. So she would like want to help the the elderly person come in or get the cards for them and stuff like that. Geldafor, on the other hand,
he would find the place in the store where there's no one and most likely go back to the tools, where in the batteries back there and just kind of avoid things because he doesn't like to be around people. He doesn't really like people.
I like him already.
I mean,
He's Gen X all the way.
you say that Tana is mildly annoying in her blind optimism. She's very annoying in her optimism, and I think that's the key to their relationship is that Gallifrey has to deal with this positivity. It's constant.
Odd couple for sure.
You know what reminds me of the dynamic you're talking about is I'm sure you've probably seen it. Good Omens with David Tennant.
Yes.
It reminds me of that dynamic between David Tennant character and the
Michael Sheen.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Michael Sheen. Yes. So it's that kind of dynamic, except Tana is oblivious, I think, to Galdafort's just how grumpy he is. And he's just grumpy. He doesn't want to. He really is mad because she's so goofy with how she approaches things, and hasn't stuck to the plan. She is sticking to the plan, but not in his mind. Like she's gone off and just done her own thing and not found the quest, and in the process she's doing all this stuff to get to the quest, to get a quest, but she isn't. And he thinks she should just, we need to follow the book. We need to do what's in the book. We need to, because they have a guidebook that guides them, because it's a textbook essentially. And it's telling them what they need to do. And she's like, oh, okay. And then she goes off and, the book is not even been opened, essentially because she doesn't read it.
So his job is to chronicle it, and he's on his first chronicling mission.
Yes.
So he's basically the jaded, cynical journalist.
Yes.
And that's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
But if
the point of view is from Geldafor in the book. So the book is about Tana, who is the hero, but we wrote the POV from the chronicler that's grumpy and that gets pulled along.
How did you come up with this premise?
Well, that's an interesting story. Maybe not so interesting. It's just it happened as an evolution for sure, like any story does. The Galdafor didn't come along until in his role until later in the development of the story, but it started out with Tana as a boy. So Tana was actually Tanner, and it was supposed to be in the very beginning of it all, way back. It was two monks or two chroniclers looking for something to chronicle. And then eventually it shifted into, we need it to be a champion and a chronicler, not two chroniclers, but a champion and chronicler, so that we have some adventure. And then the whole school element developed with that. And it just, as with any story, just kind of evolved. And once you found their voice and you found the plot that you wanted them to go along, because that's kind of the thing with middle grade, is it's about the characters grow somewhat, but it's not about their growth completely. It's more like the world has put them into this situation and they navigate it. So that's kind of what middle grade does, like versus young adult, where it's more about like, it's my internal feelings. I love that boy, blah, 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 blah. All that, this has nothing. This has none of that. We don't do any of the whole love junk. That's leave that to the romantasy, whatever.
Just another reason to like middle grade.
Yeah.
It's funny because you know how, especially in trad pub, they're always going on and on and on about stakes or
Yeah.
goals or motivations. You have none of that in middle grade books. Like the motivation for this book is Geldefort does not want to fail out of school. That's basically his only motivation. There's nothing about him growing as a person. There's nothing about him doing anything besides getting this first chronicle. And then there's a secondary plot of his aunt is like the most famous chronicler in the world, and she went missing. And then Pegs, the rooster, plays into this as well because his aunt's champion is also missing. So it's kind of like a secondary plot that we have that's going to be over the course of the series. But that's it. There's no motivations for him other than to get this first
and
round.
to survive.
Yeah, well,
I think they make too much of that, right? I mean, when we were in school, they'd always say, well, when you're doing poetry, right? Because everybody, when you went to school, you had one section, which was poetry, to which the only question the teacher asked was, what do you think this line means? What do you think this line means? Right? And I was really happy one day when I found like Robert Frost's poem, Two Paths Diverged in a Wood, right? He ends it with miles to go before I sleep and miles to go before I sleep. And they always tried to make such a big deal of that. It's like, why do you think he used the same line twice at the end? Well, they asked him that. And his answer was, I couldn't think of anything else. Right? Sometimes it's just that easy.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be this big kind of involved thing. It can just be fun. Right?
Yep.
Okay,
Mike and I were talking the other day, and the book I'm writing right now, I'm kind of thinking about it. It's like I have a bad guy who I need to fight at the end of the book, but they've only been kind of alluded to for the whole, like 80,000 words, alluding to them, but you never really see them or hear them or anything's happening with them. And I said, well, that can't be good, right? And then I thought, The Hobbit, they just talk about Smaug until they meet him and kill him. Right? So maybe it's not that bad.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Lord of the Rings, you don't see Sauron
Right.
at all. I mean, you have the mouth of Sauron, obviously, and then you have the Nazgul, but you don't have Sauron other than like the few times that Frodo the eye sees him. But yeah, you don't need to have
even the Nazgul, right? They see the hobbits before they get to Brandywine. They, poke Frodo once, and then one of them gets killed, right?
Yep.
They're not. Mike, you were going to say something. Sorry, man.
So, idea came in my head. It's a fresh question that has never been asked before.
Oh my God, no. Who does your hair? Sorry.
Yes, I'm looking for a new hairstylist. So I think I know what the answer to this is, but I want to see what you guys say. We're going to take good old Tana and Galliford now, and we're going to put them on a roller coaster.
At first they were in Walmart, now they're in a roller coaster.
Exactly. And we can even throw in Pegs if you want. How do they react to the roller coaster once they're going down that first hill?
Okay, so before we answer that question, there is a scene in our book where let's see if I can find the image, but they take a giant bird carries this wagon of like oddities, right?
Yeah.
Tana, so basically like a roller coaster cart. Geldefort is like hanging on for dear life because there's no railings, and Pegs is asleep because Pegs sleeps for half the book and then like wakes up when he has to do something important and then goes back to sleep.
That's very convenient.
And then Tana is talking to the Farnsworth character who's like this oily car salesman, and she's just like raptly paying attention to him tell all these stories. So we kind of have that scene in our book.
Okay.
Where it's called a Black Herald. It's like a huge crow, and it's carrying the wagon of goods that Farnsworth has taken the opportunity to gather. Yeah, there he is. And Gallifort's like, oh my God. In that scene, he's more annoyed because Farnsworth won't be quiet. He just keeps talking and talking and talking. Yeah, there we go. So you'll see in that little picture, but I would say that Galdefort would not be on a roller coaster. That just wouldn't happen because he would see what it does and would not do it. But Tana would love it, and Pegs would as well. I mean, there's no doubt about it. In fact, Tana would want to be in the front car.
I was going to say, I see Tana like standing up with a sword and pointing.
Yeah. Ah! I mean, just incredible. That's it.
You said this was going to be a series. How many books in the series do you think it will be?
So far, 3.
Just 3.
So one of the concepts to become a champion. So Tender Sword is a title.
Okay.
All the first level would-be champions start out as Tender Swords. So each book is going to have a different title for Tana, but there's an item that they get. It's called an Elm Stone, and there's 3 pieces of an Elm Stone. So it's almost kind of like the Legend of Zelda Triforce, kind of very similar little bit mindset. So she'll get 1 piece each book.
And at the final end, when she gathers all 3 pieces, or earns it rather, based on her assignments that she has from the Academy, the Edric Academy of Valiant Adventurers, that's what the name of it is. She gets these 3 pieces, and at the end of it, she'll be a true champion. And she will have gathered all the power of a champion. And so it's a little, the stone provides a mystical kind of power.
What about the other guy? What's he get?
A headache.
He gets a pat on the back.
Once again, the journalist gets jacked.
No, he actually, his chronicle enters into what's called the Everlasting Chronicles. And so his final chronicle will enter into this where it will be revered for all of time. And that's really what he wants, is his story, kind of like as an author, his story will be there for generations to come and to be referenced. It's not just like a newspaper article or something. It's actually like Library of Congress kind of thing, So that's his goal.
So is this whole thing like just made up from whole cloth, or did you draw inspirations from any other type of genres or stories or myths or anything like that?
I would say for the most part, it's original. I of course, everything you read, and I love The Hobbit. I love fantasy in general, or at least, like I'm not a huge fan of like blood and guts fantasy, but
what I write as adults.
Right. I'm totally middle grade. My brain works that way. But as far as this goes, I can't really pinpoint something to say that's a direct inspiration. I think it just happens from all over. Like movies that I watched as a kid, like Dark Crystal and Kroll and, these movies that were...
Gelflings.
Yeah, exactly. I think, in fact, the more I think about it, Dark Crystal did influence my love of this kind of story, just because it was fantastical and whimsical. And that's really what this story is about. It's fantastical and whimsical. It's not, we don't have any death in the story. No one dies. There's danger, but there's not
It's
dying.
very like Looney Tunes kind of, whack on the head, knock them unconscious type thing.
Right.
But again, you're not going to put that in. You're not going to put, a bloodbath scene in a book for a 12-year-old to read, and market it towards those 12-year-olds.
But I bet no one's written a middle grade grimdark. You could be the first.
So it's funny you mentioned that, Mike, because our main villain is like a witch, right? And she steals souls. And I've gotten a few comments from people that, read the book that don't read middle grade. And they're like, so when are we going to get this really dark Thistle Willow story? And I'm like, I don't know if I can convince Dewey to write a dark Thistle Willow story.
She's the main villain in this book. She's pretty vicious, and it's toned down for the book, but she could become something. She's a wraith essentially, and so she's she can become. In fact, at the end of the book, I think is the most harrowing scene where she becomes something that's she transforms into something pretty scary and terrifies Galdefort. But that's really the most. If we go, it's not anything. It's safe. It's a safe book for kids to kind of dip their toes into fantasy, and not feel like there's parents can rely on this to not be something that's going to explore darker themes. Yeah. So there she is. Like that's the Willow, and she's transformed essentially into a spider.
So this has inspired me now. I'm going to write a story based on Sister Philomena from when I was in second grade. We called her Sister Full of Meanness because that's more appropriate.
If you look at the fairy tales, right? I mean, Hansel and Gretel, that witch was like putting kids in a freaking oven and eating them. I mean, that's straight up cannibalism.
Yeah.
And none of them are particularly nice. The big bad wolf offed grandma, and then
right, and then the woodsman cuts it open, and grandma pops out, and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's all right. So I've got writing some questions. Last year we talked to all but one of the finalists for SPFBO. And we asked them all, who do you think is going to win?
I also mentioned that the one person we did not interview is the one who won. So you guys are screwed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sorry,
I don't
No, we already know that, Mike. Don't worry about it. Based on the scores, we're not going to win. Take a miracle.
You kind of won just by being in the final group.
That's
really.
the way we're looking at it, because we're the first ever middle grade book to reach this level. We're taking that to the bank, and it shows. I think last year was a good. I'll mention this. Dewey had no idea what this competition was until I told him we entered, and then he had no idea what it was until Brian Bell named as a semifinalist, and then he still didn't know what it meant until Philip Chase named us as a finalist.
Oh my God, that is
which was awesome, because he's like, I kept on telling him how important this could be for us, and I was like, and he's just like, whatever, that's fine, that's cool. But no, I think last year showed, the previous 8 years was mostly adult dark or grimdark fantasy was like the finals. Last year there was a number of cozies, a number of non grimdark books.
Yep.
This year even more so. The array of books in the finals this year is all over the place. And I know this is cliche to say, but all of these books, I've read a couple of them so far, all have something great about it that readers are going to really find, which I think is really important, because it's not just for one type of reader, it's for all types of readers. So this competition is going to be pretty interesting. I will say that Dewey and I talked when we got named finalists and saw the other ones. I kind of gave my opinion of who I thought would win, and so far some of them are there or not. Maybe it's just up in the air still. So if I had to put my money on it, though, I really do think Adrian Gibson's Mushroom Blues is going to win. I've not read it yet. I plan to read it, but I know a lot of people really, really, really like that book. And it's very different. It's like got mushrooms, which, we have mushrooms too, but we're not as cool to create a whole genre called fungal punk, but I think he's going to be the one to take it this year. But I could be completely wrong, because I've seen some of the judges pick ones that I didn't think were going to be as liked, and they really, really liked those books too. And I'm just like, maybe I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, which is probably more accurate than anything.
Dewey, do you concur?
I honestly don't know. I don't know. I rely on Bill's expertise with this. If he says Mushroom Blues, I can't say with a substantial fact that yes, I've read this book, it's great. Because I haven't, and and there's nothing about that. It's just I don't read a lot of the books. And when Bill said about the SPFBO thing, like I didn't know about it. I don't mean that as a I just didn't know because I'm like in my own little corner. It's just a true ignorance. But when I found out, like when Bill told me and kept telling me and pushed me along with it and saying, okay, this is a great thing, and then seeing the books, reading the descriptions, seeing author interviews of the finalists and everything, it's very humbling to think, oh wow, this is a really cool group of people, and they've all got their vision out there right now and eyes on it, and I think that regardless who wins, it's potentially just life changing, because you're getting views regardless. I mean, and good review, bad review, whatever, I don't care. But what I do care about is that any review or any person that reads the book would not have had eyes on the book had we not been in this group, and so I think that's a win. And if it finds its way to our book in particular, if it finds its way to its true audience, which are the kids, if it finds its way and then that child's like, oh, I love this, I love fantasy, I want to read more, that's even better. That's
better
my true goal.
Yeah. One last question here. If I remember what it is, hold on, it'll come to me. When did you get the keys to the finalist super secret Uber Discord? Is that just something they said you're a finalist and here's the password?
I got the invite literally like the same day we got the nod.
Yeah, and everybody's pretty chill with just chatting it up in there, or is it like this big awkward long pause of nothing?
No, we're again, I mentioned it earlier. We were on the panel today for TBRCon with some of the finalists. It's been pretty chill in there. Like we all will talk about, just even personal stuff. Like, one of the authors is, trying to get a new job. Another one just lost their job and trying to get another job. So, we talk a little more on the personal side of things too. But I don't know if I should spill the beans here, but there's also a super secret finalist of all the years Discord server. So all 10 year finalists. So there's 100 people in there, or 101 could be, but Dewey's not in there because I'm saving him the pain of being in there. But no, that one's a good one to be in because there's some big names in there that are just great sources of advice. ML Wang, who did the Sword of Kaigan, is organizing a finalist sale. I think is going to be in April, a thing. So it's just going to be like all the SPFBO finalists for a nice sale. So like that type of stuff is just like really cool. But also, like Dewey said, it's very humbling because we're just like this little spunky middle grade book that somehow got there. We got the perfect judging group. We talked about this, and again, I'm referencing this panel we had earlier, but it's like we lucked out with our judging group. There are some blogs that read 20% of each book, and that's all they do. There's other judging groups that weight heavily in their subjective taste, and we got lucky with Brian Bell was our sub judge for Philip Chase, and he came out and said, early in the competition, they had 5 judges, so they had 6 books, and he said, I'm going to read every one of the books in my group, and I'm going to base it on how good is this book, not my personal taste. And I was worried because there was a lit RPG book in there, and Brian Bell loves lit RPG. There was a book that's kind of based on the Highlander TV show and movie, like the movie There Can Be Only One. And he's like, I actually have a bunch of Highlander books on my bookshelf. So like he knows a lot about Highlander. So like I was kind of worried, going in, but he loved our book, and then he picked us. And then Philip Chase, gave us a complete shot out of some amazing books. I know, Mike, you read The Sunset Sovereign by Laura Huey. I loved that book.
Yeah, absolutely.
That book was phenomenal.
And shout out to Laura Huey, by the way, she's an incredible.
She's been
person.
a huge support for us. Hype person for us. So go read The Sunset Sovereign, people. That's a great book. I'd show it, but I don't have it in here. But we really lucked out, and we would not have gotten. There it is. We would not have gotten the same type of fair shake in some of these other blogs, and luck was a big part of this for us. So being to bring it all back, being part of that finalist group is just really humbling because we are lucky. We are very lucky.
Well, I think by the time you get to the finalist group, I think luck plays a much smaller part in it than you're probably is probably realistic, honestly. What you were saying, I think, can also work against someone too, right? I mean, if someone is really into lit RPG and someone submits a lit RPG book, they have a lot of history with that genre to kind of judge it against, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that could also work against them.
That's true.
It's not that good, is what Roe's saying.
That's not what I'm saying at all, man. Mike, we are coming up on an hour. Mike, do we have time?
We do, but I have to ask one question that I've probably asked you to before, but I have a goldfish memory, so I've forgotten. So real quick, which is more awesome to you, to ride the Griffin down the main street of your city or to ride a T-Rex?
I am pure T-Rex.
That is a good answer.
I'm a T-Rex too. I mean, I would like to do both, but a T-Rex for sure for destructive qualities. You could, especially if you could rein them. And again, I don't think kids. If I had a T-Rex, kids would not be on my yard in the snow.
We got to answer this question. This is a good one.
Dan, you are well beyond first-time grower, man. That's not going to happen.
Beard oil, beard shampoo. It's an actual thing.
Yeah.
And then a boar's head brush is always very good too.
And genetics.
Well, that helps.
There you go.
I mean,
my dad is very barefaced, and he jokes that I can shave in the morning and just go, and I'd have a beard by 5 p.m.
Okay, so we're going to do the Bald Dome real quick. Are we familiar with it?
I am.
Okay.
Remind me, what is this?
Quick.
Tell me.
And for you guys, you'll get to have Galifort and Tana both. But we take your characters, we're going to put them in a totally different place and a whole different situation so we can learn about what they're like without you giving away spoilers. So I'm going to roll a bunch of dice, and then I'll set the scene, and then you guys take over and tell us what happens.
Okay.
And Dewey, what is your favorite color?
Green.
Okay, so Galifort, Tana has a green fizzy potion because she's more likely to use it. She doesn't know what it does, but it's a very pretty green fizzy potion. It's 100% will work whether they do it on themselves or on their adversary. It'll work, but you don't know what it is.
Okay.
Would she ever make Galifort take it?
No.
You can hope. So
you're saying no. Bill's saying yes.
So both Galifort and Tana have been transported to a celestial observatory perched atop a snowy peak. They have the green fizzy potion that Tana has because, more exciting that way. And now you guys get a choice, and I guess I'll give you each a choice. You can have a regular item, and you'll face a regular animal, or you can have a weapon, but you'll face a fantasy creature. Which are you going to choose? What does Tana choose?
She would choose a weapon.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's chosen a weapon. She gets number 10, which is a dagger. Okay. Is Galifort one his own, or is he just going to be happy with whatever Tana?
There's no weapon. Galifort doesn't do weapons.
Okay. And you picked an item, you would have got 2 pewter plates. So you got a dagger. And now instead of facing a grizzly bear with 2 pewter plates, You turn around the corner of this celestial observatory, and lo and behold, there is a horde of 10 relentless zombies.
Oh gosh.
I have to look.
So one caveat question:
Sure.
is Pegs here or not?
Yes. Peg's
want
gonna
to
be
be?
here.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good.
Okay, so if Pegs is here, then we don't need the potion. We don't need. Tana doesn't need the sword, and Geldefor can go hide in the corner because Pegs would do everything for him.
This is a chicken, right?
He's a rooster with a peg leg, and in that peg leg is a sword.
A flaming sword.
Flaming
a
sword.
flame.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely reading this book. Awesome. Okay.
And he holds it in his beak.
Chicken.
Attacks. He's
I'm gonna find that image. See, I'm glad I got the book here. I could show all the.
Okay, so what's the question? What are we going to do?
So what happens? You turn the corner, and there's the
The
zombies.
story's all yours now.
Galliford's in the lead for some reason. He sees the zombies. Peg and Tana are right behind him. What does he do to start us
Well,
off?
definitely, Godifort would stop in his tracks. He would back up and say, Tana, come here. And Tana would be like, what's going on? What's going on? And she has her sword with her dagger. And there he is. Yeah. He's got his little sword. And Pegs, of course, is asleep in the knapsack that Tana carries on her back because he's always asleep because he doesn't care until it's time for him to wake up. But she would go, oh, zombies. Oh, well, here's a situation. And so Godifort would most likely get out his book, the textbook, to see, okay, we need to go to the appendices to see what we do when we start to encounter zombies as the zombies are lumbering forward. So when the zombies are lumbering forward, Bill, what would Tana do as Galifort's trying to find the appendices?
So Tana will start quoting the book and get into the fighting stance. Step A, hold the sword in both hands forward, put the second or right foot forward, and then Geldefort will just run behind. And then she'll remember that potion, and she'll give it to Pegs, and Pegs will do his thing, which is our jokes about burping fireballs as Tana starts attacking the zombies.
So
yes,
does Peg drink the potion?
Does Pegs drink the potion?
Yes.
I guess so.
Okay, so now I need you all to clarify this for us because it's a potion of invisibility.
Uh-oh.
Rooster
Oh, that's even better.
Fireballs, are they invisible? What is invisible here?
Well, if it's a potion of visibility, it would just be the chicken. When the fireball comes out of its mouth, it would be visible.
Right. So all you see in this dark temple, or wherever we are with the zombies, is little blast of fire, and then zombies going, and then, and Tana's there with her sword, and she's running in, and Godifort's looking from behind, like, okay, let me write this down. Oh my gosh, I'm about to die.
Okay, well
they would be promptly defeated, the zombies. I mean, Pegs is essentially a warbird, or that's what he's called. And well, maybe we haven't called him that. It's in our brains. And so he knows how to fight. In fact, he is. I see Tim put Pegs as airborne levels of power.
Airborne levels of power.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, he's pretty powerful. So,
how did Tana get together with Pegs?
Pegs found them.
So the basic plot, as we mentioned, is Tana has to find a first quest. In the first chapter, she gets what is called a quest request from this mystical old lady, and she says that a guide is going to find you, and the guide is Pegs.
Okay.
The guide's going to lead you to find your quest. So this is to your quest request. So Tana has a quest request, not a quest, but a quest request. And so
I will admit that in all the times we've done this stupid thing, I have never had a clearer mental image of the bald dome than I have right this minute. And it's freaking awesome, and I'm here for it.
It's kind of funny. I don't remember who said it, but somebody said it in a review that this book is almost a progression like video game style fantasy book. And we didn't think about that until we get to this point, because like there are little tasks that they do to get to the next phase of their journey. And one of them definitely was finding the guide, which was Pegs, but then Pegs is like sleeping the whole time. So that's part of like the humor is Gelderfort's like, what kind of shit are we working with here? Because the rooster's always sleeping. Like, how is he going to guide us anywhere?
He doesn't say that. He doesn't quite say that word, but yes.
12-year-olds are adding that in there.
It's like, what the hell? But yeah, I mean, his response to this whole situation is, because and the other thing is that Tana and Pegs can talk to each other. Like Tana understands Pegs, the rooster, and the rooster understands her, but no one else does. And so Gelderfort thinks she's insane. Like you're losing your mind. Yeah, the rooster is talking to you. You can actually understand. Oh, and she's like, oh yeah, oh that's so funny. And so they have little conversations, and sometimes at Gelderfort's expense, where they're laughing, kind of riffing on him with each other, and they just go, oh, and Gelderfort is like, you and that stupid rooster. Drive me crazy.
And Ro, I got to point this out too. Another thing that, just so you have a better understanding, there are magical door knockers that are in the shape of owls, and they're very funny and rip on Gelderfort even more. At his expense.
Do the owl door knockers ask who's there?
Yes.
Perfect.
Actually, yes.
Right.
And he makes a joke, and then he just starts laughing. The door knocker starts laughing. He's like, I've been waiting to do that.
Yeah, right, of course.
I've been waiting to do that for a long time.
Yeah, you've got to
So, do you have a title for your second book?
Yes. You do.
Have you announced it yet?
It's in.
Technically, it's in the book.
It's at the back. So when he shows it,
I'm pulling up the book again.
Okay, the quizzical quandary of Tana the Quest Seeker. So at the end of this, Tana the Quest Seeker is her next title. Okay. Quest Seeker. She goes from a tender sword to a quest seeker. And
I love a little alliteration, so thank you for that.
There is a lot of wordplay in here. Tana also spends half the book mispronouncing words. Yeah. And Gelderfort has to tell her, no, that's not it. Yeah, there is a dragon in there called Orlon, and she keeps on calling it Oregon. The bad guy's name is Visionaron, and she keeps calling him Vinegar. Just stupid little wordplay like that. But
and you don't know if she's doing it to mess with him or if she's truly doing it just because she's so positive about things and just so bubbly. And I like to think Gelderfort thinks she's doing it on purpose, just to annoy him. But
so they kind of sound like a brother-sister vibe almost.
It is. It's very much so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so when is book 2 coming out?
Hopefully later this year.
We're in the process of writing right now. So just, we didn't touch on this at all, but, Dewey wrote the first book, right? And we became critique partners back in 2017. And, I was working on my adult series. He was working on the Tanner book. That's when it was, Tanner the Tender Sword. And as part of that, critique partner stuff, I started giving him some ideas of, maybe we can do this or do that. And then, long story short, after a few years of trying to go trad, it just wasn't working. I'm like, I'm not letting this story die. Like, I could not let this story die. because I just loved it so much. And so that's when, I approached Dewey to be like, hey, you want to do this together? Do you want to, try to, touch, get this story to this point where we can, put it out and just like self-publish it ourselves and go that route. And he was all for it after, after a few years of, learning how I was so into this story and, the ideas that I was generating with them. So we had a couple of years of buildup. Now, as you probably all know, you get your first book out and, like the sophomore slump of like albums and stuff like that, where it's like you have a whole lifetime to get that first one. But then the next one you have to come out like right away. And we learned with this one, with this release, especially since Dewey's doing all the artwork, that is a very time-consuming piece. And when it comes to like the writing part, I can write, a lot of words in a good amount of time, but that middle grade voice has to be a middle grade voice, and Dewey has that part down to a T. So like we can't rush the writing part of this because it has to fit that age level and that voice. So yeah, and again, like I said, I ruined everything by having a child recently. So like that pushes everything out by many months, and stuff like that. So we're hoping for this summer, but probably more realistically around the fall.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing Bill didn't say is I shelved this book. I was like, I'm done. I put it away. I just didn't want to deal with it. I was tired of the agents. I was tired of the publishers and just all the rejections and stupidity that was happening. And I thought, this is, I don't want to do it. This is, who am I doing this for? I'm doing it for me. So I'm just going to put it away. And then Bill was like, oh, no. Yeah. And that's the thing about Bill and I is he's not just a critique partner. He's a really true, good friend. And we connected really on a lot of things, and so he knew that he could whip me into shape, which I needed, and I'm glad it came out. I'm glad we got together and we retooled it, and it's out now. But like, this is something that had been done over years, and so now we're kind of rushing a little bit to get the second one out. But you know what?
To also ride the wave of SPFBO, because we made the finals, like we kind of like want to ride.
Right.
And
that will be faster though, because like you say, you found their voices, right? So you know who they are as characters now.
Yeah.
Yes. And we have an outline. We have everything. We're just, it's just a matter of getting it done and finished. I hate that Bill's blaming his baby. Don't do that. Poor thing. She's a sweetheart. I would give up all this for him, to spend time with this little one. But eventually it'll probably be this month, February coming up. Maybe, I don't know. It's up to you when we really dig back in. But I will say that, and I don't mean to keep us too much longer. This will be the last thing I say, is that the SPFBO thing. And I don't know if the other finalists can speak to this or even Bill, but it's awfully distracting. Yeah. It's like it. I think one of the biggest challenges is keeping your center as an author or as a creative person, and realizing. And what I mean by that is, who am I doing this for? Am I doing it for reviews? Am I doing it to be in this contest, or am I doing it for the characters and the story and the true audience? It's one of those things where, I don't mean that to sound unappreciative of the situation, but the reality is it's very distracting. And so we have to kind of back up from it all and go, okay, just forget about what the reviews, because they're not really for me anyway. And let's get back into the story. Let's get back into the writing and the characters.
How many shows like this have you done so far?
Is this our first one? Yeah.
So we have our own little show that we do sporadically called Smudgeon of Curmudgeon. where our dynamic is like how we work in tandem anyway. I read a lot of books really fast.
He's amazing.
Dewey
I don't know
doesn't.
how he does it. I don't know how he does it.
So
He's-
the people we usually have on, I'll read their book beforehand, so I know what we're talking about going in, and Dewey is like discovery as we go. The only one we've done, and again, Dewey doesn't want me to blame the baby, but it's hard when I'm not sleeping. So the only smudging we've done since my baby was born was Dr. Chase. Right after he named us finalist, we were like, okay, we need to get Dr. Chase on, and be like, why the hell did you pick us? Type thing.
Have y'all had him? Have y'all had him on?
We have
No.
not. No.
He was phenomenal. He's really funny. He's really knowledgeable about everything, but he's
Yeah.
also just super chill. And that
Yeah.
was one of no shade to Alex, who's been on, Tim's been on. We've had great conversations with them, but I think Dr. Chase was like our true first non-close friend that was on our channel or our show, and it was a great episode.
Actually, I told Ro this earlier, Tim, that yes, Dr. Chase would be a wonderful number 200 guest.
He's delightful. I mean, I think he very, like you said, chill but classy. He has a lot of he's very intelligent, of course, but he doesn't. It's the kind of intelligence that's just who he is. It's not a well, I'm more intelligent than you kind of thing. It's just a really deep, rich kind of person to talk with, and we had a lot of fun with it.
We'll see how smart he is when we ask him to be on the show, and if he says yes, not so much.
All
I think he'll do it. He's pretty. He does a few of these types of shows. I know he's got his own channel and popular books and whatnot. But
well, you guys are going to be doing.
We're gonna bring Smudging back. So return the favor, have you guys on, and we can grill you. We have our own little shtick. Tim McKay is probably going to be our first guest. We're going to try to do him a little bit closer to his relaunch with his new cover, but I had to pull the plug because I'm just very tired at all times these days. I'm going to probably pass out right after this.
I'd love to tell you it gets better, but yeah.
I know. I know.
When it gets better?
Teenager phase right now, Ro, and it's the worst phase that ever existed in the history of children.
But both of my kids are out. My son's in the Air Force. He's in Pensacola. So he's there at the Naval Station. He's part of the Air Force contingent there with the Blue Angels.
Nice.
So yeah, best thing for him. Best thing for him. And my daughter is in college, so they're both gone, and that's when your sleep starts to catch up. Is when your kids leave, your sleep catches up, and you're like, okay, I'm feeling myself again. So,
well, gents, I think you two have set a record for this show, and I think we have spent more time talking about your actual book than we have ever talked to anybody about their book without going down like stupid rabbit trails. At 170 something episodes, we've never talked about someone's book this long.
Well, it helps when I can keep showing images to get you to understand how crazy this book is.
We're all about pictures, I guess.
Hey,
you've decoded the Bald&Balding secret now.
Exactly. I mean,
you need pictures.
We are like I got my teaching license. Dewey was a former teacher. There are visual learners out there. So.
Yeah.
All right. So later this year, book 2, very cool. Good luck on getting through SPFBO. You never know. You made it this far. You got a chip in a chair, right?
Hey, like I said earlier, we're looking at the positives. I tell Dewey this all the time. We made it to the final 10 out of 300 books. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
you're in the
that's-
top 3% already, so you know.
Yeah, that's just a very cool thing. And then, I also, because Dewey's such a great artist, I surprised him and entered into BIBA, the cover contest, and we actually won the children's cover contest.
Dude, you buried the whole freaking lead. You waited an hour and 20 minutes before you tell us that.
Yep,
Awesome.
sorry.
Congratulations, Dewey. That's very cool.
So we won, and
Thank you.
we got that award, and I surprised the crap out of Dewey. Yeah, he'll go get it. I didn't want to tell him that I was entering just because if we didn't win, he would never know. But
Oh,
Nice.
so we
sorry.
got that. So like that for me, and again, I know we're running out of time, but like that for me was awesome because it's a celebration of the work that we put in, and again, Dewey's artistry is what's really driving us. So I was really, 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 really happy to get
Yeah.
that.
Thank you, Bill. You scamp. Thank you.
That's
It was a
awesome.
total
And
total
well deserved.
surprise.
Yeah.
I was like,
You bet.
So, are we going to end our show on that sappy note?
I think we probably should. Yeah. Thanks to everybody who stayed out late with us tonight. Appreciate it as always. And
Yeah,
we
thank
are
you
back-
for
like
going
Tuesday.
later. I know you guys like the earlier timeline. Thank you for.
We're even older than you, Bill. So and you can see how much Mike needs his beauty sleep. So yeah.
oh.
Okay, with that one, it's
All right.
time to wave awkwardly.
Thanks, guys. Been great.